We're here with Dr. Fred Whitehurst, FBI whistleblower, involved in some of the hugest cases of history in the past 20, 30 years. We'll be right back with more of Dr. Fred Whitehurst after these messages. And now, a word from our sponsors. Pacific West Bamboo, your premier source for sustainable building material. They provide construction-grade and craft-grade bamboo material for all your indoor, outdoor, and gardening needs. Contact them for event planning and display building as well. 503-839-8126. Or you go to their new website, pacificwestbamboo.com. Or you can contact them on Facebook at Pacific West Bamboo. That's 503-839-8126. Amanda from Pacific West Bamboo was our first sponsor. She's been so good to us, so please support her in return. I want to make everybody aware of our new members section at www.oppermanreport.com. You can go there and sign up for a monthly, quarterly, or yearly subscription. You can even purchase episodes one by one. You get full access to brand new original content, new guests, new uncensored interviews, my own investigations and reports, and we're going to be adding sections with documents, images, police reports, either provided by myself or by my guests, or for my own investigations, my own reports. So you can go to oppermanreport.com and you can sign up there tonight. You can start listening tonight. Strawman. I want to mention Strawman. Strawman is a band out of Toronto, Canada. They're good friends of the Opperman Report. They're a trio of guys who share the same mindset most of us here do, and they put that energy into their words and music. So check them out at strawmanmusic.com and drop them a line to let them know that you heard them here on the Opperman Report. We'll be doing an interview with Sean Duffy soon. You can get an autographed copy of my book, How to Succeed as a Private Investigator, by visiting my PI website, emailrevealer.com. We also offer a computer and cell phone forensics. We can recover deleted text messages to uncover infidelity. We offer asset searches, locates, email tracing, background reports, and we can even trace your spouse's email address back to internet dating websites to catch them cheating online. You can reach us at 800-572-9762, or you can email me at emailrevealer@aol.com. New World Mexican Women. Everyone loves the New World Mexican Women, and their line of fine, handcrafted, authentic Mexican jewelry of stone mosaic and abalone stone inlay. In their first book, titled New World Mexican Women, available on lulu.com, they teach you how to make this jewelry, and they have a collection of love letters to their men from their hometown that have immigrated to the United States to find work. They have also published a new book entitled Azuquina to the Rodeo. It's about a young girl that falls in love with a rodeo bull rider, and she runs away with him without telling her family. You can find the New World Mexican Women by Googling New World Mexican Women. And you can ask them about their deals on wholesaling their fine jewelry and all of the other projects that they have going on. If you'd like to have your business or website advertised here and promoted all over the world on dozens of stations every day, give us a call at 800-572-9762 or email oppermanreport@gmail.com. And now back to our show. Welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. Before we get back to our guest, Dr. Fred Whitehurst, I want to tell you about my friends over at MichiganMushrooms.net. Now, they offer the highest quality chaga chunk available anywhere. It's picked fresh from healthy live trees in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, sun-dried, and quickly shipped to you. They're very proud of their long-standing reputation as trusted farmers and collectors of wild gourmet medicinal mushrooms. Customer service and offering high-quality products is very important to them. They have a strict grading system that begins in the woods, and they'd rather pass up a chunk that looks bad instead of trying to pass it off on a customer. Now, additionally, they're recognized by the state of Michigan as mushroom experts and are certified by the Department of Agriculture to sell 20 different species of mushrooms, and proof of this certification, as well as laboratory test results showing the levels of polysaccharides and betulinic acid and more are available on request. Check them out on Facebook, Michigan Mushrooms LLC, or their website. You can order mushrooms tonight at michiganmushrooms.net. If you go to the Opperman Report blog, there's a link there and has a code from the Opperman Report. Use your code, the word ED, and you get 10% off. And it makes a great Christmas gift. But we are here tonight with Dr. Fred Whitehurst, former FBI whistleblower, testified before Congress, uncovering FBI mishandling of evidence and perjury and all kinds of fun stuff, you might call it. Dr. Whitehurst, back to the World Trade Center bombing. Now, the official story with that was that you guys found a VIN number off of the truck, and then they were able to lure one of the bombers back to the rental company by telling him that he had a deposit. Now, what do you make of that story? You were there. Did you find that VIN number?
No, I'll tell you what, the FBI didn't find that VIN number. What happened was the FBI declared that they were in charge of the crime scene.
Okay.
And which was somebody had to be in charge. And there was a crusty old ATF agent who wouldn't have anything to do with it. And he went down there with a crew, and they went around and they found it. And there was a little bit of a ATF FBI hackles up over it, but it was ATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, that found that piece of metal and found that number. And what you're describing is what happened, but it wasn't us. It was, as far as FBI, it was ATF. They were the heroes there. The VIN number led to a particular place that the thing was rented out, and they got the guy back there, and that then began the, okay, well, here's who did it. Kind of, it wasn't, once ATF decided they were going to do it right, then that's the way that thing figured out.
Okay, so and while you were working on that, you didn't see any kind of mishandling of evidence or any kind of perjury or anything going on in that case?
How would you say? There were a lot of mistakes made. There were a whole bunch of mistakes made. But when you've got 40,000 tons or 200,000 tons of rubble that you're dealing with, and you're trying to go through it, and you've got people from 6 and 7 different agencies, and there's always, people at each other's throats from different agencies, that's what's going to happen. Mistakes are going to be made, and that crime scene was probably, is one of the most complex in American history up until that time. What we really ended up with, from my sort of where I was looking at it, was we had a president said no stones unturned. We had an attorney general that said, and we went on down the line, but nobody wanted to run the thing. Okay, nobody wanted to be there and micromanage or whatever, up until there was an FBI agent in the FBI's explosive unit who just went in, and we were all over at another building that was near there, and it was a staging area, and all these agencies and people milling around and a lot of hot tempers, and he stood up on this stool and he said, "This is the FBI crime scene, and anybody gets in our way, it's going to be we're going to hold you for obstruction of justice, so get out of our way. You want to be part of the answer, or you want to be part of the problem?" And everybody was pleased. I mean, he stood up and said, "This is the way it's going to go," and I was very proud of him. I wouldn't have wanted to run that crime scene. It was chaos. There was no way to control people coming and going. There was no way to, there were some firemen that were in the building. They brought their girlfriends in to show them the crime scene, and there was some media folks that went right in, and it was extremely dangerous. That building was swaying, and what was going to happen if it caused the building to come down? It was a miracle in engineering that stabilized the whole thing. And, sadly it didn't last for too many years. But were there problems? Yes, there were some phenomenal problems there. But I think that the prosecutor that handled it saw the problems and was forthright about them, upfront about them. If there was problems with evidence, he didn't introduce, the evidence as part of what went on. The forensic work was, it was just almost impossible. Here's the thing: you get the bomb was supposed to have been made of a material called urea nitrate, but urea nitrate goes off and it puts nitric ions all over in urea. But urea is used to melt ice at that time on the streets of New York. So if you found urea, it didn't mean anything. And nitrate ions come from, this acid rain we've got and car exhaust and things like that. So people tried to say, we found it, therefore that's what this means. And our response was, well, it might be what it means, but there are other things that it could point to. And I remember I wrote a report offering alternative explanations for the data. And I got the report back, and my boss, who's a really great guy, he said, Fred, I don't want to push this on you, but the guys up top don't want you to put alternative explanations in the report. This could have come from a urea nitrate-based bomb. However, there are other things, and I named some other things. And I looked at him, and I said, well, you know what? Then they can fire me. I'm not going to lie in a court of law, and I'm not going to lie on this report. We knew that what the issues were, the vulnerabilities were, and I wasn't the only guy that stood up. There were other people that said the FBI management is a mess. I'm telling you, it's a mess. They get there by political means rather than what you say, just honest police work. And once they get there, they want to stay there. And it's you make this truth whether anybody wants or anybody believes it or not, because that's the way you're going to get promoted to the next level. And one of these days, they're going to profile FBI managers correctly so that people don't get promoted just because they wanted to agree with a director. They ought to be promoted because they're honest, hardworking people who say what they believe, despite the consequences. But that's my 10 cents worth here.
Well, I think it's worth a lot more than 10 cents. Now, okay, I guess so that pretty much covers the World Trade Center bombing. Well, what about the Oklahoma City bombing? Now, I know you have some kind of problems with that, right?
Yes. When the bomb went off, I got a call immediately from some people on the ground who had been students of mine at Quantico, and they wanted me to help. And again, by that time, the FBI was not going to send me to the crime scene. So my student, who'd become my partner, and a youngster who didn't know his head from a hole in the ground, packed up and went out to the crime scene. And again, it was one of these horrendous, too much. And, from the time the device went off until the next day, they had a gully washing rainstorm that went through, and a lot of the evidence was contaminated or destroyed or whatever. And anyhow, I wasn't there. And, you hear about it, people coming back, and they look like combat soldiers coming out of combat. They're just exhausted. They go out and they work for, 20-hour days. And towards the, okay, we've looked at the evidence, and this, as agent who was the guy in charge wrote up this report. And he came to me and he said, Fred, if anybody that'll critique this and put it right, tell me what's wrong with this report. Well, darn, the report was a mess. So I wrote a 90-page critique, but I got a problem because it's what's referred to as Brady material. It's material that can help the defense rather than hurt the defense, and the government, knowing it, has to put it out. And so I wrote this thing. I didn't ask for the man to bring me the report, and he brought it to me in good faith, and I wasn't I was just in good faith saying, here's